everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany, here with my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Emily Compagno. Also joining us, Fox News contributor and former Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, and Fox News contributor and senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, Mark Thiessen. We begin with new questions about the NAACP's travel advisory warning for Black Americans and the timing of that advisory. It was issued, interestingly enough, just ahead of Governor DeSantis's expected 2024 announcement. Coincidence? I don't think so. The NAACP says this in response to several laws signed by Governor DeSantis and declares the state is openly hostile to African Americans and people of color. But the chairman of the NAACP, Leon Russell, appears to live in Florida, Tampa to be exact. That's my hometown. Florida is so dangerous that a Democrat strategist who claims Florida is about to be a terrorist state just took her family there on spring break.
And I really appreciate the NAACP's guidance on this issue. You know, I just took my family to spring break in Florida recently, and I think about all of the folks who traveled there for sun and joy and peace and restoration. And to be reminded that actually this is getting to the point where Florida is about to be a terrorist state to many of us here in America. Certainly as a lesbian, as a Black woman, I don't want to have anything to do with the place. And I think about all the other people who don't want to travel there either. And so I think it was very clever on behalf of the NAACP. I thank them. Want to travel there either, and so have anything to do with the place. And I think about all the other people who don't want to travel there either. And so I think it was very clever on behalf.
You don't want anything to do with the place, but didn't she just say that she traveled there with her family?
Behalf of the NAACP, I thank them for issuing this broad guidance.
You know, there are places I don't want to take my family, Tulsi. Afghanistan, Syria, a lot of places come to mind. And so I just don't go there, terrorist states.
Notice she didn't, I mean, it sounds like she and her family had a great time. I think the sad thing I see in all this is when you look at the NAACP's history and the pivotal impact that they made in the civil rights movement and completely shifting and changing our country. My grandfather was stationed at Eglin Air Force Base, so my dad was in like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade there in the panhandle of Florida. And my dad has told me stories about how, you know, he's a Polynesian kid from Samoa, the only non-white kid in his class, being called the N-word, being chased out of public bathrooms that had the whites only sign. This was the panhandle of Florida that he grew up in. And so because of the NAACP and other great leaders, that's not the Florida that we have. It's not the country that we have today. So it's just sad to see how they feel they have to manufacture this racism crisis that frankly doesn't exist in the things.
Remember she said that, because I'm gonna circle back on that in the words of Jen Psaki with a crazy story that you may have heard of, but I haven't really seen it in mainstream media yet. But remember she said that manufacturing racism.
That the CEO said they're just not true about Florida.
They're just not true. And Harris, one interesting point from Axios, huge growth in Florida's Black immigrant population. They are among the top destinations for Black immigrants to settle their families.
Well, that's because of jobs.
Right.
Right. I mean, you have people leaving large states, small businesses become medium-sized businesses, and they grow larger because they have an opportunity with the population there. People want to work in that state. Yeah. But I thought, you know, if places you don't want to take that can feel like terror, I wouldn't call them terrorists.
I think I know where she's going to go with this, but...
places, because I'm classy like that and know my facts. But Chicago, just this past weekend, 23 people shot, 1 fatally. Do you know that the weekend before, 26 people were shot, 8 fatally?
Yeah,
like,
so sad.
We talk about it on the show about how there are some Democrat-led cities that are literally in desperate need of advocacy. Mm-hmm. And I...
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to see how I'm gonna be conservative here when I say these numbers, but I want to say that they're even worse than what I'm about to say. But if I remember correctly, now I could be wrong, and I'm gonna try to be conservative here, so I don't overestimate. I'd rather underestimate here. But 70% of the folks who commit crimes related to firearms are Black people. And over 70% of the victims of gun crimes in Chicago are black people. Now, as I said before in several videos, statistically, I am in more danger around people that look like me than I am around white people. But yet, Democrats in the establishment always want to tell me, watch out for the white man. This country's racist. Hey, yo, Rich, watch out, Rich. Watch out. Watch out for who? Somebody that look like me? And of course, there's going to be a bunch of folks that look like me that are going to call me Uncle T and bootlicker and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. But a fact is a fact. The truth hurts. The truth hurts. I could tell you of people that I personally knew, including family, that died to gun violence. So I can speak from personal experience. Personal experience. I don't need to go out into the world to say this. I can speak from a place of personal experience. You know who the people that killed them, or what race the people that killed them were? Go ahead, take a wild guess. Take a wild guess. Same as them. They were black. But I'm supposed to be looking over my shoulder for the white man. Stop it. This stuff is foolish. And I even dropped a YouTube short on Kingface. Rest in peace to Kingface. But he was actually conversating with some black folks in a room, and he had said, how many black people you know that have died in your neighborhood to gun violence? Everybody raised their hands. Everybody. Every single person could name multiple people. And how many of those folks were killed by a white cop? And then he went on to say, so you more concerned about a leaky faucet than your kitchen being on fire. That's what these Democrats are doing. They're more concerned with a leaky faucet than their entire kitchen being on fire. The kitchen is engulfed and the faucet is just drip, 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 while the whole kitchen is just engulfed in flames. Oh, let's fix the faucet. I'm sorry, I just don't get it. This stuff really annoys me.
Ideas and innovation and love. Where is the NAACP for Chicago? Where is BLM? Where are these people who would turn an eye anywhere, let alone Florida, where people are working? And
I was with some folks who were talking about taking a trip to Chicago. I was asked, "Hey, yo, Rich, you know, such and such is going on, such and such date. Where's it at? Chicago." Nah, I'm cool. I don't care what's going on in Chicago. Don't care. Don't care. And I advise y'all not to go either. Okay? I'm not going. Absolutely not. I don't care what Chicago got or what they got going on. I'm not going. I'm not going. That was literally a conversation maybe 2 weeks ago. Maybe 2 weeks ago. I will literally not step foot in Chicago. At all. It'll be a cold day in HE double hockey sticks before I step foot in Chicago. Okay? Absolutely not.
And that population, I mean, we saw after Ian, that horrible hurricane, and the governor went all over the state, putting in bridges and things that other people said couldn't be done in 6 months to a year. I mean, you do that because you love where you live and the people in it. I just don't understand this other than Derek Johnson said it, the president of the NAACP. Yeah. This is where the politics are. Mm-hmm. We roll that.
Who even listens to the NCAA anyway? NCAA. I legit didn't do that on purpose. Legit. That was a 100% slip up. Excuse me. Who listens to the NCAAP anyway? NC. Goodness gracious. I still did it. Oh my goodness. NAACP. Excuse me. That wasn't intentional. I'm sorry. NAACP. Who listens to them anyway? Honestly, I forgot they even existed. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. Now, like Tulsi said, I'm sure back in the day, they did some fantastic work. Fantastic work. But now it's just like, oh man, like you're literally trying to manufacture and dig for anything and everything you possibly can. Like, stop it. We good.
That bite last hour. Yeah. That sound from him. This is where the politics are. And when people tell you what they're thinking and who they are, we know. Believe them.
Mm-hmm. Florida's Attorney General, to your point, she said, Ashley Moody, people come to Florida, we have a 50-year crime low. Versus Chicago, 23 people killed over the weekend. She said send a travel advisory there.
And that was actually an improvement from the weekend before.
Right.
Which
Sad.
is really frightening.
Sad. You know, the nuts and bolts of the lie, we need to unravel this, Mark, because they say DeSantis doesn't want to teach Black history. It's a patent falsehood. We've heard this from the Views set and onward across liberal media. But Florida's public schools are required by law to teach students about the enslavement experience. That's a quote, Wall Street Journal editorial board, about abolition, about the civil rights movement, and the history and contributions of Americans of the African diaspora. And they go on to cite the Department of Education website.
Yeah, and also DeSantis signed a bill to add the 1920 I'm going to mispronounce it, Okauchee massacre, where Black Floridians were killed by a mob. You can teach the facts in Florida, you just can't teach CRT. And that's what most Americans want. But here's the thing, the travel advisory isn't working because Florida is the #1 state for in-migration within the United States and the #1 state for destination for migrants from around the world coming to Florida. 1,200 people a day moving to Florida. And the NAACP has not been that organization for many, many years. I worked for George W. Bush in 2000. They ran one of the ugliest campaign ads ever against George W. Bush. They used the daughter of James Byrd, who was lynched by a mob and dragged behind a car, and they showed a picture of a car with chains going behind it with his daughter saying, when George Bush wouldn't sign hate crimes legislation, it's like they killed my father all over again.
Wow.
It was the most brutal, and they called Brian Kemp, Jim Crow 2.0 for signing that bill that cost $100 million in revenue for minority-owned businesses because they pulled the baseball, the All-Star game out of. So this is not an organization that's been a champion of Black Americans like the ones you're talking about in Chicago for a very, very long time, and they've been.
Well, I got another video. Now, remember I said I was going to circle back to something that Tulsi Gabbard
breaking
had
overnight
touched
a
on?
scare outside.
Oops, story starting already. I listen. I guess we'll just jump straight into it. Let me shut up.
Breaking overnight a scare outside the White House. Video appears to show a driver trying to ram a U-Haul truck past a security barrier. So you hear the engine revving, then the sound of crashing into those protected bollards. Witnesses say the driver backed up and did it a second time before the Secret Service rushed in. No explosives were found inside the truck, but a Nazi flag was discovered in or around the vehicle. Now,
I want to run that back because I want to show you guys something really quick that was allegedly found outside of the truck. Actually, I don't even know if I can show y'all that. I genuinely don't know. I don't think that I can. I just thought about that. That just occurred to me. I'm probably going to have to blur that out. Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened because I'll probably have to blur out this whole thing now that I think about it. YouTube is just, it is what it is. I'd rather play by the rules and stay on the platform than to, get banished to the corners of the internet. Okay, I can still get my message out without compromising too much. Now, allegedly, someone was trying to breach the Capitol grounds in a U-Haul truck, allegedly. And I want to, did they have a mugshot of the guy? I want to say I saw like a mugshot of the alleged guy. Let me see if no, they don't show a mugshot here. But allegedly, there just happened to be a Nazi flag that was laid out on the ground, perfectly flat, wasn't wrinkled up or crinkled up or anything like that, wasn't folded in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it was laid out perfect, like someone, you know, like when you're going out. Obviously, I don't, because I get free tans. You know, I get free tans for life. Hey, listen, don't hate the player, hate the game. Okay, hate the game. All right, y'all know when some folks go out to tan, and they lay down the towel nice and flat, nice and perfect before they lay down on it to tan on their back or tan on their stomach. Right? That's what it looked like somebody did with that Nazi flag. That's what it looked like somebody did with it. Just laid it out nice and perfect. I mean, at the perfect angle for the media to see and take pictures of. Like, it wasn't on the front side where it would be hard to get an angle of it. It was laid out right in the open, where like people could easily get a photo op of it. Now, with everything that we've learned recently from the Durham reports and everything else, now, cause to pause. I'll let y'all talk about it in the comment section. You already know where I'm going with that. So, I mean, it's just sad where we are, man, where they're literally, they are so desperate. They are so desperate for an issue, it feels like. I mean, it's insane. It's like a dying animal, you know, like we've talked about before. A dying animal or a cornered animal screams the loudest, and it feels like they're screaming their hardest right now because they're losing grip on their control over society. And I showed the video to you guys yesterday where black people, my Hispanic brothers and sisters, my fam in the LGBTQ community are all leaving the Democrat Party all at the same time. If you haven't seen that video, definitely go and check it out. Dropped it yesterday. You don't want to miss it. Absolutely incredible stuff. And I like Tosi said, I just feel like they're manufacturing stuff at this point. That's what I feel like. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, man, y'all let me know how y'all feeling about all of this in the comment section below. You got the NCAA. I mean, goodness gracious, I did it again. NAACP. Goodness gracious. You got the NAACP issuing travel bans to Florida and what? Come on, man. Really? Y'all let me know what you think about all this mess in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button. It's right up over there. Click that thing right up over there. And after you do that, check out that video too. You might like it. Peace and love. I'm out.